Girl, I can't stand a motherfucker who wants to work until the very end of the day. Girl, give me a break. What? Girl, I didn't mean to come on here like that. What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica, and we are down here. Girl, 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 girl. I just found out I have a hole in this sweatshirt, and I'm not sure why, but it looks like the seam is coming out. I'm gonna have to sew it, and I don't have a needle and thread. I can't believe I haven't had to sew, like I said in my other video, I haven't had to sew anything since my son has a stuffed dog that he calls Wolfen, and Wolfen had a hat on, so I had to sew his hat back on. This is when his little baby. Girl, I put these eyelashes on. Now these eyelashes are strips, but I cut them into clusters and I put them in underneath my lid at the lash line instead of on top of my lid at the lash line. I find that for me, I find that wearing clusters help my eyelashes. My eyelashes grow so fast. Like you can literally see the from I put the lashes at the lash line, and when I get ready to do a new set, you could see how much my lashes have grown. And so when I used to wear strips, something like after I would take the lashes off, I would feel my eye would kind of feel not irritated, but like maybe irritated, aggravated. Like I felt like the my lashes were aggravated, right? And the way my lashes grow, they grow curly. And so sometimes my lashes, and I know a lot of people have this issue, but my lashes will turn this way and they'll be like poking me in the eye. Like, yeah. And so um these lashes, I wanted some curly lashes. Now these are like spiders. If I take my, you could probably tell right here, but if I take my glasses off, they're going to be like, bow, right? So they were really long. I thought they said they were 15s, but they seem longer than 15s. They probably seem like they seem like 18s or 17. 18 is too long, but I know they're not 18s because 18s will hit my lens, my frames or my glasses. So these can't be, but look, see. So I took the strip and I cut it and I made them into clusters. I cut it, where there's like a little space, and I cut it, and then I did my clusters underneath at the lash line. So when you look over the top, you can't, you just see my lashes, but they're like blended in. But these are so long and I wanted them shorter, but I want curly. I like wispy, but I like curly better. I like them to look natural, and my curly eyelashes are natural to me. And I know these don't look natural because they're so fluffy. I don't want them fluffy. I just want them curly. So wispy usually gives me that. I saw some that were like, I don't know how the girls, they'd be looking like, so I tried these on and I was like, these are too much. But when I put my glasses on, they look real pretty. You know what I'm saying? They look real pretty. Real pretty when I put, oh, I didn't have these on. I had these on. They look pretty, right? But you can't really tell when I have my glasses on. Anyway, so um what are we talking about today? Today is Wednesday. I was just annoyed because my boss pinged me and I'm like, it's Wednesday. I know, like she's the boss. So I know she like it doesn't stop for her. Like working doesn't stop for her. Um, I'm telling you, I'm more of like I'll work under a leader. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want the responsibilities of a leader. And that's why I loved, training, because I would get to meet the people, interact with the people, train the people on how to do their job, get into their personalities. We have, I do a lot of icebreakers and getting to know each other. So by the time, class, everybody's friendly, everybody's, breaking the ice or whatever. And then I get to move them to their respective supervisors and departments, right? And then I get a new group of people to learn, right? Learn about them, learn their personalities. It's such a great project. Learn how different adults learn, and how there's, of course, we know as trainers, there's different learning styles, but trying to figure out what a person's learning. Sometimes people don't even understand their learning style. They don't even realize that they need to have somebody standing over them to show them how to do something, or they need to see it on a board, or they need to actually do it themselves, you know? And when you tell people, oh, you have questions, and they're like, no, I don't have any questions until I start doing it, right? And then I'll start having questions. But right now, I don't have any questions. So I really love that part of it, because I get to, even as a trainer, they would give me like who to keep and who to, maybe this isn't the right job for them. So I would determine, like, determine based on their behavior, their attendance, their participation. Are they grasping the information? Some people don't grasp the information right away until they're actually like in the thick of things. um, and so it gave me not leadership. I was in leadership, but I wasn't the leader. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so that for me is the best, because I don't want the responsibility. I do not care to have that responsibility, especially in corporate America, because I know that you're being overworked. I know you're being utilized more than you're being compensated for. I know you are. I'm as an observer, as a person who enjoys to watch humans behave. I watch people in leadership. I watch them. I listen to what they're complaining about. I see them running around like, when you used to be in office, running around stressed out. And then you could tell how stressed out they are based on their expectations of you. And they have weird expectations and things that don't make sense. And it's like, what are you trying to achieve? Something your higher up told you, but you don't really know how to do it because you're not really enmeshed in the department. So you're giving people ideas on how to do something effectively, but you don't even really know how it operates for you to even suggest a more efficient way. You understand what I'm saying? And so I can't, I, that like, I know, like, she just sent me a message and I was just like, it's Wednesday. I know we're still working, but it's just like, relax. And then the crazy part is that the people don't understand that all of the health issues that they have are because of the job. And it's like you're trapped in, like, I feel like this wall that is closing in on you. And it's like, the job is making you sick, and you need to keep the job in order to keep the insurance so that you can manage the illness that the job has caused. And because your health insurance is tied to your job, you have to stay in the environment that's making you sick. You don't have to, but you're faced with that dilemma. Do I stay in the environment that's making me sick, because that's the reason why I need the health benefits? Or do I leave the job and find me something where I can get Affordable Care Act or whatever. I can get that insurance and not have to work. That's the scam, right? Tying your health benefits to your job, and then your job is the thing that's actually making you sick. And then you're like, I can't leave this job because I need the insurance. But it's like, well, you don't, because if you leave the job, the stress that you have, you're not going to need that amount of medical care. You're not going to need it as much. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like a double-edged sword. And she's always hacking and coughing, and she is overweight. You know what I'm saying? An older woman, but she's no nonsense. I think she's no nonsense. But I think, like, along with a lot of Black women in corporate America, until they snap out of it, like, oh my God, I'm being used. I'm not appreciated. Um, I saw that example in real time. I saw a woman in a job position, take care of, like, manage her team, where she didn't have leadership. She didn't, there was nobody in the position above her, and she often had to do the job of the person above her, right? Sitting in on audits and stuff like that, things that you wouldn't do in her position. Then when the job came up, they didn't even give her the position. In fact, they laid her off. And when I saw how they treated her after she held up that department with no leadership, doing the job of her own job in addition to a person higher than her, and then when it was time to move her in the position, they moved somebody from a different department with no experience in that department into the leadership position, so much that when she was in the leader position, she didn't know what the fuck she was doing. She had to ask the woman who they skipped over to give the job. She had to ask her for help. So she kind of became like, she didn't, she still had to do what she was doing. And it was literally a slap in the face. And ever since that happened to that woman, I have looked at the leadership who did that to her. I have had a bad taste in my mouth. When that man gets on his calls and he starts talking about this, all I can think about is him skipping over this woman to give a woman this. Okay, we're back. I had to delete some stuff off the phone. It got full. Oh, and I need to buy that thing that lets me use the front facing camera, because the front facing camera is better than the back camera is better than the front facing camera. I use a front facing camera for my videos. But if you look at my videos when I was in Mexico, those look different because I was using a front facing camera. And I was like, I have the thing for the front facing camera, but it's concave. So I feel it looks so weird. I can't look at myself through that thing. And also, I can't see when the phone, like what the phone just did. It like shut down or stop recording because it says my storage was full, so it couldn't record anymore. So if I had the camera face the other way, I would not have been able to see that the camera stopped working until the microphone disconnects, and then I'll be able to see it because it starts flashing on the receiver, and then I'm able to see it. So what were we talking about? Oh, corporate America. I always have to come to you with the corporate talk. But yeah, in corporate America, they don't give a fuck about you. That's why I'd be looking at her and thinking like, if she quit this job, and I'm sure she gets paid six figures, if you quit this job, I think your health would vastly improve. Um, but people are tied to their. I think that, oh, when I think about this country and all of the scams and schemes and the institutions, and it's just like, who thought of this? Who thought of it's just a way to get labor. It's just a way to get labor. Free labor, any way that they can get it. They want free labor in this industrialized society, patriarchal industrialized society. Just everything a machine working, a machine, a machine, a machine, just working and working and working, right? A great cosmic mother talks about the machine. Oh, here's the chapter. I have it. They have a chapter called The Machine. And it talks about simultaneously patriarchal men move to take over and, quote, improve, in other words, capitalize the most primal production of all, the female production of children, modeling their religious and practical notions on their new experience of cattle breeding. Men redefine the ontologically and autonomously create a female body into a machine for producing wealth. And so they use the same template in the job market as well. And if you notice in the job market, there's a lot of women in the job market, whether they want to admit it or not, but there's a lot of women in the job market. Everybody's not a stay-at-home mother. Here, this is the studying that you want to do, right? Go all the way back to the Bronze Age if you want to. So when men tell you that men created this, we created this society, you did not. You moved the women out of their positions of medicine women, shamans, oracles, herbalists, agriculturalists. You moved everything from them, killed all of the wise women with the knowledge that created this society, and then flipped it and made it a mechanical society. See, mother renews, mother restores, mother regenerates, mother operates from a space of abundance. Father does not. Father time is death. So ultimately, their practices will destroy the mother. In every way, in every aspect, there's a way to destroy the mother. Remove the mother from the idea of creating life. Tell these people that they come from a man's rib. Tell them that the man in the sky is the only way that they can join him in the sky is through a man. Tell women they are not valuable until they're connected to a man. Tell them they're not valuable unless they're producing children, reproducing children. Tell them they're not valuable until they have attached themselves legally to a man. Three trends might be disconnected, even sometimes publicly antagonistic, but the truth is they are profoundly linked. Their linkage can be traced back to the Bronze Age, to the practical beginnings of patriarchy at the end of the Neolithic, when men first began to organize to gain systematic control over one, women's production, and two, women's reproduction. As we've said, the definition of the female body under patriarchy corresponds to the definition of the worker's body under private capitalistic, example, American, and state capitalistic Soviet production systems. At the beginning of the Bronze Age, patriarchy, males began to take over women's ancient inventions and improving them, i.e., capitalizing them by turning rhythmic, local, qualitative, handcrafted work into quantitative, mechanized mass productions for trade and the building of wealth. And then they tell you get married to the man, and now you become his property, the children become his property, the land becomes his property. If y'all don't wake the fuck up, patriarchal religion grew side by side with patriarchal wealth as workers or traded for wealth in the form of female bodies. Okay, hold on. I skipped over a whole bunch of things. Patriarchal religion grew side by side with patriarchal wealth and secular power. The father god's male priesthood rationalized and sacralized the pastoralistic control and use of women's bodies as wealth breeding machines, simultaneous with cattle breeding, spiritually programming generations of both men and women to believe that God was now a male who wanted it this way. The Neolithic goddess religions that had supported female sexual autonomy, female control over both sexual pleasure and reproduction, were religiously demonized and politically destroyed. With the growth and elaboration of tribes into nations, into empires, structural systematic control of female reproduction passed from private hands of fathers and husbands into functional machinery of state political economies. Male rulers attempted at least to regulate populations according to the state and business fluctuations, the need for increase or decrease in labor forces and armies, the more consumers of surplus or fewer consumers of famine, etc. That's what they said is going on with the current American government now, is they're creating this space where there's going to be people who are going to be in need of food, in need of health care. And it's a way to get rid of the people. It's a way for population control. Now the birth rates are dropping, fertility rates are dropping. Women are not having children, and if they are, they're limiting them to one or two at the most. So what is that going to do? That's going to put a gap in production because the children who should be in kindergarten, they're not there. Ask kindergarten teachers. The kids are not there. People are not having children. So those children that are in kindergarten, they're preparing them for the workforce. That's what school does, is institutionalize and indoctrinate you to be a worker. That's what school does. That's why it's the same hours as work. They get lunch breaks. They get 15-minute breaks. And it's operated like that, even on down to wearing uniforms and stuff like that. It's like that. It's a production. I want to create these human beings into workers, put them in school, indoctrinate them, lie to them about the history of the United States, tell them that we need to work in order to be happy. You need to work until from the time you turn 18 till 65 years old. They want you to work for 50 years, then enjoy your life. Anybody see the scam yet? And the fact is, it's been thousands of years. Do you think they're going to change? Do you think they're going to change? Oh, okay. For over 4,000 years now. This book was written in 1982. Hold on, let me 1980, wait. Copyright 1987. Yes, copyright 1987. So 4,000 years now, female reproduction has not been an autonomous function of women, but an auxiliary function of patriarchal systems. And for the same time period, worker production has functioned as a part of the same patriarchal hierarchic wealth producing machinery. Both female reproduction and worker production being rationalized and reified by, quote, God, religious dogmas of priesthood and theologians, as a subsidiary and inferior functions of a wealth producing system. They are subsidiary and inferior functions in a sense that they are the disempowered many controlled by system to benefit of the empowered few. They are a subsidiary and inferior functions in the sense that they are a disempowered many controlled by a system to benefit the empowered few. As far as wealth production or actual value goes, females and workers are, of course, not subsidiary or inferior in any way, but primary producers of all the wealth. So they're telling you you're inferior, but you're the one keeping this fucking system going. You're the one. In both cases, work production and female reproduction, wealth is produced for the dominant male or the dominant male system and with its auxiliary wives. By organizing what was once organically rooted sexual spiritual activity into coerced mechanical reproductive activity, the Sicilic dance of impassioned bodies is forcibly and moralistically restructured into the chain gang of numbed bodies forming an assembly line or a maternity ward. Human biological and dream energies, once numinous ends in themselves, are co-opted and rechanneled into profit-making results via a collusion of religious and governmental political ideologies that manipulate the body and the spirit of humanity away from conditions or experience of evolutionary revolutionary ecstasy and into conditions and experience of counter-evolutionary revolutionary productive repression. Girl, both worker production and female production are controlled and directed by the same forces. Spiritual, ideological systems of piety and drudgery, which are themselves teleological machines producing just enough energy to rationalize themselves automatically while maintaining themselves in power. The piety and drudgery of the normative state of being in which female workers have been kept under patriarchy for at least 4,000 years. So that's why I say, ain't no rational. I'm not rationalizing with you. I'm not going back and forth with you. Y'all still operating from the same old dusty playbook for 4,000 years. It's the women who need deprogramming. Take your motherfucking power back. These men don't deserve nothing of theirs. Nothing, especially offspring. None of it. They don't deserve it. Finally, the condition is a result of the Bronze Age patriarchal redefinition of the female body from an organic autonomous creator to a male controlled breeding machine. So that's why I look at women who tell women their purpose here is to have a baby. You are agents of the patriarchy, my dear. How dare you tell a woman that her purpose here is to have a fucking baby? All you're doing is doing their work, doing their bidding, telling women their purpose is to have children. No, it's not. Under the world capitalizing patriarchy, the uterus is a factory, and the factory is the uterus, and an enormous profits produced by their joint biologic mechanical activities do not belong to the laborers, needless to say. They cannot take over their own productive reproductive systems. They are kept too busy and too tired, functioning at the subsistence level of mechanical piety and drudgery. In terms of evolutionary biology and of yoga, one could say that large masses of people are being forcibly retained and maintained at the level of a reptile brain, a brain of a ritualized repetition, benumbed violence. Kundalini is not allowed, but primarily moral restrictions to rise up and illuminate the situation. Indeed, the reptile brain is kept strangely hypnotized from the outside by mass produced dreams and commercial hallucinations of transcendence. The luminosity is on the entertainment screen while the evolutionary brain sits in darkness. Baby, baby, baby. Girl, when I tell you, that lady wrote this motherfucking book, bitch. If anything, this is a woman's Bible so that you can remember, because everything they telling you is very, very, very new, but also extremely old. That's why I say when you open their playbook, all you have to do is go and a bunch of dust is going to come out. They've been operating from the same playbook for 4,000 years. It's really time for women to wake up on a mass scale to put a dent in the culture. When I tell you again, my heart explodes confetti when I hear that the birth rate is dropping, when I hear that the fertility rate is dropping. And then I get annoyed and frustrated when I see women reading and enforcing things from the patriarchy. You got to watch out. Those bitches are dangerous, treasonous bitches, dangerous, who have completely assimilated to the idea that a man holds value when these motherfuckers didn't do shit but steal from us. The same grievances you have with the D white man is the same grievances you're going to have with D man, because they all operating from the same book. And the only reason why these motherfuckers talk about relationships ad nauseum is because that's the last place where they have any semblance of power, control, and ownership is over you, while you so happy running down to the motherfucking courthouse to change your last name to the goddamn family of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You don't know these motherfuckers. You don't know his fucking lineage. You don't know where he's fucking from. And yet and still you slap some motherfucker's name on you because he owns you. That is where that derives. That's the root of that. You take his last name because you went from your father to him. He owns you now. Your father traded you for a fucking oxen, bitch, and a bushel of hay. Property. How dare you want to reside in a time where women didn't have rights and you want to depend on a man who you had to depend on because he took your rights away. Goddamn indentured servitude. And you're going to tell me, somebody just told me I'm bitter, salty, everything that's fucking, you don't fucking like that tastes bitter and salty. And what else other on your tongue? Sour, bitter, salty, sour. You goddamn right. The women in my lineage have a reason to be fucking upset. Our practices taken, stolen. Our herbs and the way we do things taken, stolen. being an oracle, being shamans, taken and stolen. All of a sudden, all of these fucking religions have men at the head of them. That's a lie. That's a lie. Rediscovering the religion of the earth, Mother Earth. They done took mom. There is a chapter in here talking about the removal of the mother. The removal of the mother and how religion played a part. That separation between church and state is another lie. That's a fucking lie. You can't tell me there's separation between church and state and you trying to use the church to validate why this woman is not unable to terminate her pregnancy. I tell you, this lady is on it. That's so funny. I just said something about abortion and I turned to a page that says the holy bombers of abortion clinics are utterly sincere in their beliefs. Furthermore, they are right. Their God does call for total control by men over the sexual and reproductive functions of women, extended far beyond the forbidding of abortion. Contraceptive of any kind is forbidden, or any method that might allow a woman to engage in non-reproductive sex for pleasure. Their God is the Bronze Age father god of cattle breeders, the biblical Yahweh, for whom Hebrew women of those days were made were made as pregnant as possible to multiply his congregation. That this did not spare pregnant women of other neighboring faiths, however, from having their bellies ripped up by holy heroes like King Menahem before he was established on the throne of Israel by the same God. 2 Kings 15:16. The Old Testament, Yahweh was concerned with the fertility of the Hebrew tribes, while simultaneously he did not hesitate to command and sanctify the slaughter of other people's tribes, including other people's children, suckling infants and fetuses, i.e. pregnancy and population control, even in the Bible, were highly political. Go get this book. I'm telling you, and you ain't got to read it chapter for chapter. You can skip around. I love to just open the book and be like, oh, okay. Men in patriarchal, this is what I just turned to. Men in patriarchal societies learn or reveal the great jealousy and fear of natural women, of the sexual, mental, and spiritual abilities of fully evolved women living in harmony with the consciousness of their own bodies. The menstrual taboo is the consequence of this fear and resentment as they are projected back on women's lives. Under patriarchy, all life is dualized. Women are Women also are dichotomized, cut into two. There are there is the good little ovulating wife who is supposed to be passive and not very sexual. It's hard for even a woman to feel sexy cleaning a toilet bowl. And then there's the witch, the sex fiend, whore, scarlet woman of active dynamic menstrual sexuality. As both female cycles and the wise wound show, there are two poles of women's sexuality: the pole of ovulation, which tends to express itself in terms of wanting to surrender. Its white, clear discharge is called the river of life, and it is acceptable in patriarchy because it is receptive and fertile. And the pole of menstruation, before, during, and after, which expresses itself in wanting to take erotic initiative to capture and demand the red flow, is called the river of death. And its multi-orgasmic and aggressive sexuality is taboo in patriarchy. Our menstrual sexuality, which is non-fertile, is called masculine and castrating by Freudian types who share in the cultural fear of mature women. In early patriarchy and in some contemporary indigenous cultures that have been colonized by misogynistic religions, the menstrual taboo is openly punitive. It codifies sexual hostility in societies where women are treated as currency in men affairs. Under the menstrual taboos, women were to be punished for our powers: sexual, reproductive, and psychic powers. I will say that again. Under the menstrual taboos, women were to be punished for our powers: our sexual power, our reproductive power, our psychic powers. The clitoris is there for pleasure only. That's its only function. So you have the power to have sexual power without reproduction. Then you have the power to reproduce. And then you have that good old female intuition. a woman's intuition, right? Are psychic powers that they tell you to ignore, to ignore. They have switched it up so much that they even tell you the butterflies that you feel for this nigga walking towards you is you feeling nervous and in love, when in fact it's your fight, flight, or fawn response showing up. This man is no good. The butterflies that you feel are a warning of potential danger, not falling in love. We were banished to the minstrel hut, called unclean and dangerous to the man and his laws and his gods. In some tribal communities, we were imprisoned in dark cages or rooms for a month, for as long as 3 years with the first menstruation. In American Indian cultures, on the other hand, the menstruating woman is seen for what she is, a powerful life force. As Daughters of Copper Women shows us, Native American women have worked to keep alive the generations. There are affirmative and celebratory customs surrounding female puberty, including years of physical training to make women strong in both body and mind. They did this despite constant opposition from Christian missionaries and preachers who always viewed women's blood customs as savage and satanic. But they even mimic a women's menstrual cycle when they're out there doing their work under the moon, under Luna. Underneath the colonizing misogyny of Christianity and Islam, Black African women too have managed to keep alive ancient puberty and menstrual customs, which are energizing for women. Worldwide, much of women's sacred blood rights and magical instruments have simply been stolen by patriarchy, or if not co opted, repressed. Male initiation rites can express an envy and awe of women as men cut or wound their penises in imitation of bleeding vaginas. These rites reenact birth and menstruation, but also symbolize a violent separation from women, earth, and the maternal, more a guilty theft than a true participation. I think I'm done reading. If y'all don't go, this is called The Great Cosmic Mother. I think I'm going to put this on Patreon. This is The Great Cosmic Mother. Get it. We're going to keep reading from it. Every now and again, I feel the spirit leads me to open this book up. I still have some stuff, some chapters to go through. I've skipped some chapters, but there is an entire section on patriarchy, patriarchal culture and religion. The denial of mother, denial of people. There's some good chapters in here. And the chapter about menstruation, how we have been socialized to look at a woman being, quote, dirty. She is exhibiting, her body is exhibiting a great power, where she's shedding the lining of her uterus. That's powerful. And girls going into puberty should not be shamed for their periods. They should actually be celebrated. They should actually be celebrated, and their periods not looked at as them being unclean. Thank your society for telling women they smell like fish when they are menstruating. They have us believing that what comes out of our bodies, that something is wrong with that. That's them effectively getting you to hate yourself as a woman, as a female human being on this planet, able to shed every month. And they have you thinking something's wrong with it. Here's Summer's Eve, and here's this, and here's that. All these fucking ads trying to get you to feel ashamed about your body and its natural functions. But then at the same time, when they're out there cutting themselves and doing rituals that mimic menstrual blood, but they got you ashamed of it while they use it to empower themselves. That's why you don't fuck these niggas on your period. Stop it. because blood binds. Understand? So don't have sex with these niggas while you on your period. Stop calling their names when you're having an orgasm, because the orgasm is the point of creation, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on at the point of orgasm. And you hollering somebody's name, that's an active spell that you are recreating, my dear. No sex with these niggas on your period. Don't call their names when you orgasm. When you orgasm, you need to be thinking about your money and your money in the bank, your health. Stop calling these niggas names. Y'all be always talking about what do you call it? Soul ties and all that other foolishness. Having sex on your period is definitely a binding spell, and calling a nigga's name while you orgasm, definitely binding. Calling this man daddy while he has your no, none of that stuff. The sex part is like literally a ritual, and people are so shallow when it comes to the act of sex. They don't even realize what's happening. It's a very powerful thing that's happening. And you calling a nigga's name, having sex while you on your period, fuck that. Y'all better stop that shit. If anything, when you getting familiar with yourself, you and your rose and your dandelion and your tulip, when you getting familiar with it, the second you start to orgasm, bitch, manifest, because that's creation, right? You the ultimate creator. You're the ultimate manifester. That's creation. That's happening at the same time. Think about your health. Think about your money. Think about your dreams that you're going to have. That's what happens when you orgasm. Stop thinking about these niggas when you orgasm. Think about yourself. Fuck that. I'm telling you. Anyways, I got to go. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. Again, I'm telling you, if I don't tell you, if you don't learn nothing from me, stop having sex with these niggas on your periods. Them to be like, nah, say my name. Say my name. No, I'm not saying your name. You're not about to bind us together. I'm cool. I'm saying my name. Ooh, Erica. Yes, Erica. Yes, bitch. Yes. I'm not calling your name while I'm orgasming or having an orgasm. You better get your fucking face out of my face. Are you thinking about me when you orgasm? No, you're not. You're thinking about yourself and you getting off. That's what you're thinking about. So I'm thinking about me getting off. And I'm thinking about what I'm manifesting as I'm getting off. Because I can have sex and get pleasure and nobody wind up pregnant. The dog's pregnant. The dog is pregnant. Anyways, I gotta go. That's 2 videos today, and I'm gonna put this video on Patreon because I haven't had in 2 weeks. So let's get this on Patreon. The Great Cosmic Mother. Reading from the Great Cosmic Mother and putting my reefer in my Pinky Roach clip. Who said I need to go look up that? I need to go find that post, or somebody said I'm down here selling Pinky Roach clips. Yep, Pinky Roach clips. You all want to read a little bit more? I figured we had a little time. I'm just gonna open anywhere. Just let the book fall open. Wait. I'm trying to let the book fall open. I don't want to hold. I'll just hold it by the front thing. I want it to fall. Okay, here it is. Okay. Okay, we were already here. This might be the middle, but we were already here. As Margaret Mead and others have shown, the more warlike and authoritarian a society is, the stronger its menstrual taboo. In such societies, a paranoid emphasis is placed on a woman's corrupting and debilitating influence, and men's need to overpower, dominate, and devalue her. Male training and aggression is linked with taboos for both men and boys against any knowledge or contact with a woman's natural functions. It would seem that when there is no acknowledgement of a woman's bleeding, that there is instead a male acting out of ritual and violent bloodshed and war. Warlike, aggressive males societies are in rivalry with women over which sex sheds the most sacred blood. War is men's response to a woman's ability to give birth and menstruate. All three are blood shedding rituals. Women's blood rites give life, however, while men's bloody rituals give only death. To compensate for this, such authoritarian societies culturally repress and degrades women's blood functions while evaluating murderous while elevating murderous war to a holy act. The woman's menstrual the woman's the woman's menstrual mysteries of inspiration become in a war god worshiping patriarchy the mysteries of resisted knowledge, repression, and madness. Patriarchal societies are founded upon crime. This crime is not the murder of the father, as Freud would have us believe. It is the rape and scorn of the mother. There is an unconscious horror that each girl child inherits, and unlike male castration anxiety, rape anxiety is all too often reinforced by the daily reality of the act and threat of rape. Men's so called fear of castration is simply fear of losing command over a woman in patriarchal society, which equates domination of women with manhood. Remember, I told you the other day, my son's father used to be like, "You ain't taking my balls. You ain't emasculating me. You ain't gonna make me." That was him operating under his socialization of seeing a woman as beneath him. And even though you have to be, even though you have to dominate, repress, and control in order to feel powerful, that's how you know you are powerful. It's because they have to use brute force in order for you to comply. Voluntary compliance, that's what they want. Involuntary, they want to, you women with the bull rings, and you butches, and what do they call you, studs, and they want to call you, you're trying to, an attempt to insult you, right? If Western males have any legitimate fear of castration, it derives from the act of circumcision, which is a terrible thing to inflict on a male infant. But this custom comes from the Father God of the Bible. It doesn't come from women or any great mother religion. Living constantly under the still roof of patriarchy's criminal misogyny, women are forced to bend to and accept, on pain of ever reverberating punishment and terror, men's paranoid projections. Women, as long as we fear punishment for our powers and as long as we are economically dependent on men, we must accept that our bodies are unclean and deficient. Under patriarchy, the mother is feared and hated. Quite crazily, both her power and weakness, everything a man cannot courageously accept about himself, is projected onto his mother or his wife or onto any random woman walking down the street. Under Until yesterday, women were policed by professionals, also gynecologists and psychiatrists who acted as cultural reinforcers of rules of femininity, who blamed our ills like menstrual depression and pain on our failure to be feminine. How many men have grown rich being in the business of telling women what we're supposed to be. Obviously, patriarchy wants us to be something that is not natural for us. Otherwise, we wouldn't become crazy and sick trying to achieve it. You know how many women have laid on the table and got their bodies sliced open for a man because they have told women this is how men want y'all to look. That's why men run around and be like, "We don't like when women wear this. Nigga, we don't give a fuck what you like. We ain't here for you, motherfucker. We don't give a fuck what you like. Or if you don't like it." Until yesterday, once a month witches were given drugs and electroshock treatment by modern inquisition. Members of a psychotherapeutic profession Now, thanks to feminine and more women doctors, menstrual depression and pain, including the premenstrual syndrome, and are being seriously studied and treated with intelligence and concern, not with traditional contempt. But we can't forget how many women just yesterday were thrown into psychiatric wards by husbands and physicians because our cultural menstrual taboos rendered everyone stupid about a basic life function. Girl, I tell you, this book is so motherfucking good. Now I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave y'all with that. It's good. You get into the when they start talking about periods and stuff, because they really have us believing you stink, you smell like fish, you dirty. You, oh, I don't want to touch no one. You can't come in the house of the Lord if you're on your period. You know you can't go into a masjid if you're on your period, right? That's in Islam because you're considered dirty, right? You're considered dirty, so you can't go into a masjid if you're on your period. I don't know about any other um, worship houses. You can't go in if you're on your period. Or are there any other? But I know for a fact in Islam you cannot even, you can't, while you're menstruating, you are considered dirty. You are considered unclean. That's that Father God religion. Got you thinking something's wrong with you for a basic, it's literally a basic, but it's not basic in the way that it's being studied, but it's something that most female humans can do. And y'all have taken it, weaponized it, and made us believe that something is wrong with us when we are actually in between creating or being able to reproduce. My body is shedding because I'm not reproducing this month. That's when I tell you the intelligence behind the human body and our reproductive systems is insane. And for them to take that intelligence and dumb it down and make sure that everybody is stupid to the actual power of it, that's their goal. Make you think something is wrong with you. Girl, please. I gotta go. Take care of each other, protect your energy. I got videos to what do you call it, edit. And then I think tomorrow we might go live. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. I feel like a lot of y'all will be at home just relaxing. So maybe we'll go live, and we'll go live in the morning before the day gets started. And then maybe we can talk while y'all, if y'all are preparing meals for your family for later that evening, we can just chit chat while y'all do that. I'm only making the meat. We don't do turkey. We just do whatever. But we're doing short ribs, and my son is making, they're making the sides. I'm doing the short ribs, and what am I doing? That's it. My youngest son is making a cheese tortellini Greek pasta salad, and then my oldest, who's the actual chef in culinary school, he's making candied yams, rolls, and mac and cheese. And then he was like, "Do not buy shredded cheese. Please buy the block." Because you know that they put that film. It's like over shredded cheese. They put something over it to keep it. I don't know, some kind of starchy stuff. You could see it when you take it out of the package. You can see like there's like a film over the cheese. So he's like, "Get the block cheese." Well, I mean, a lot of people know that who cook. Don't use the shredded cheese because it doesn't melt as well unless you're going to use it like in the middle. Like I feel like if you're going to use it, like if you make your cheese sauce for your mac and cheese, you make your cheese sauce, and then as you put the mac and cheese in there, you layer it with the shredded cheese. But he wants to shred his own cheese, so that's what he's doing. So he's making rolls, yams, and mac and cheese. I'm making the short ribs, which I need to go in there and start marinating them. And then the youngest, the Aquarius, he's making the cheese tortellini Greek pasta salad. And then we gotta think. I'm gonna do like a little charcuterie board, and I think that's it. That's all we're doing. Oh, and an apple pie. So we honor our ancestors. I have a lot of pictures that we just go through and look at, and I, talk to them about who their family is and give them little stories and stuff like that. So that's what we do on Thanksgiving. giving. We honor our ancestors on that day. So, anyways, I hope y'all have a good day off, and I hope you're relaxed and cooking, a nice fun meal for yourself, something that you don't always eat. Even though we always eat short ribs, especially at Ono Hawaiian, at the Hawaiian place, we have short ribs, or if we go to Korean barbecue, we'll do short ribs. But I just wanted to make some short ribs. But then I did Instacart with my short ribs, and the girl was like, they don't really have the flanked short rib. Like, I like the thin cut short ribs. So I got some thicker short ribs, and I'll probably do some braids, Korean style braised short ribs later. So I ended up going up the street to the meat market and getting I knew they would have them there. And so it was, ooh. And then I saw they had oxtails there too. I had a lot. I was like, ooh, 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 ooh. I'm like, let me not buy any oxtail. But yeah, so that's what we'll be doing. So hopefully, I think tomorrow we will go live, and we'll go in the morning and before noon. And then, I can talk to y'all while y'all are preparing or prepping or whatever, and we can just talk about nothing, girl. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, take care of each other, protect your energy. Let's get down in the comments. Peace.